How can I possibly have a sneaker channel and know nothing about a particular sneaker? Well, that's the truth. That's just the way it is. Here I am with my sneaker channel, over 500 videos so far on YouTube, more than a year and a half of work to build this thing. And then along comes the Nike SPIRIDON Caged Varsity Red, and I know nothing about it, like nothing. I'm doing a video for you today about a sneaker that I know absolutely nothing about. Or should I say that I knew absolutely nothing about. But before I sit down in front of the camera, every single day I research the sneakers and make sure I know what I'm talking about, even if I've never seen the sneaker before and even if I know nothing about it. I mean, these guys dropped 15, 20 years ago in the 2000s. The OGs were dropping and they passed me by. Didn't see them once. No idea. No idea what's going on. I mean, in the early 2000s, I was in my late 20s. And these sneakers just didn't come into my sphere at all. But here they are, they're coming back. They've already dropped here in Tokyo, Japan, and they will be dropping soon around the rest of the world. So I thought it might be a good time to learn about this sneaker and then take that learning, put it together in a video and bring you today the Nike SPIRIDON Caged Varsity Red. This is a Tokyo About a 23 Sneaker Channel. Tokyo About a 23 Sneaker Channel days. Mainichi Absurino Day, Mainichi Mitake Sai. Every single day from Tokyo, Japan, I bring you content about upcoming sneaker releases, sneaker news and sneaker reviews. And today, that upcoming release for people not in Tokyo, Japan, is that SPIRIDON Caged Varsity Red. But if you're here, these guys have already dropped, and it's just golly. I mean, I can only do 7 videos a week. Well, I could do more. I actually do more. I go live every morning to talk about the coronavirus, and then I do this content in the evening every day, and I have a full-time job, and I have a young family, so I'm kind of busy. I can only do 7 videos about sneakers, or I do only do 7 videos about sneakers, and I research each one. At first, I look for which sneakers I want to talk about, and blah blah blah. And I found these guys, and I just was like, no, I have to review them. I've never seen anything like that before. They look kind of like an Air Max from back in the 90s. The 1990s, but they don't, so I want to know more about that, and then I'll put that together in a video for you guys. So if you yourself know more about these, especially how to pronounce Spiridon, because I think that's what they're called, but it's just, even the name is just totally alien to me. I have no idea what these are about, but I will be taking you through what I see on them, and what I see are the signature features on these guys, and particularly there's an awful lot going on everywhere. And by that I mean in terms of the upper and its materials, in terms of the air unit and its design, in terms of the outsole and what the features are on there. Like, the whole thing has got an awful lot of stuff going on there, and I'm going to take you through every little bit of that. And the first place to start with is with that upper, which is a double mesh single piping upper. So what you've got going on is you've got the two-tone mesh in red and grey or silver, depending which way you want to look at it. But if you zoom in and look at those meshes, and hopefully somehow side by side you can see a place where they join together, they're joined by a silver piece of piping that's solid. And I think it's leather. I'm pretty sure it's leather. So the piping is the solid silver leather. And then on either side of that, you'll have the silver mesh on one side and the red mesh on the other. Now, normally mesh would be considered to be, usually be a similar feature throughout a sneaker. But in the case of these guys, they're very different meshes. So the red one, if we zoom in on that, you can see that the red one is like a closed mesh, and it gives a sort of smooth, uniform effect. But then if we pan across and take a look at the silver mesh, it's more of like a hold effect. So that kind of sort of uniform element to it is gone, and now there are just many little holes in it. And if we pan back out so you can see the two side by side again, you can see that the red meshes are that solid all in one unit, if you like, and then the silver ones have that hold effect, and they're separated by the silver piping and leather there. So that's kind of the main feature of the upper, and it's the thing that really attracts your eyes and really draws your attention to it. And when you pan back out and have a look at the sneaker as a whole, especially with that red swoosh and black outline on the side, you can see the effect that having the holes in the silver mesh has compared to the solid sort of effect of the red mesh there. So that was the first kind of place that I wanted to look into on these guys. The second place I want to go to is the toe roll on the front, and then contrast that with what's going on the back of the sneaker. So if we start with the toe roll on the front, you can see where the toe box sort of dips down into the midsole, that there's a silver grey sort of effect, and then there's a sort of stud effect throughout it, like 3 or 4 studs throughout that front kind of roll down into the midfoot. And then if we really have a look at it, because I'm going to take you to the heel and show you the similarities between that toe and the heel when we do this. Oh, that was a good one. And then the heel there, you can see that stud effect mirrored there again from the front of the sneaker to the back of the sneaker, again in that sort of silver grey colorway that goes with that mesh from before. But instead of the mesh where it's holes that go through into the sneaker, now you've got the studs that come out off of the sneaker, which kind of complements that 3D effect and gives it more kind of character and more depth to it. So now that we're beside the heel, we might as well go down just ever so slightly and have a look at that air unit on the side. And what I'm calling it, and what I think most people will call it, is a caged air unit. And again, it's something I hadn't seen before. I've done a lot of sneakers this week about Air Maxes. I think I did 2 Air Max 90s, for example, the reverse duck camel. That's an interesting video. Check out that video now or later. When you click those links, it brings up a menu and you can check out a bunch of videos. But Nike Air Max have been a big thing. And here's one here. Look, a Nike Air Max 93 or 270, whichever way you want to call it. It's beat up and it's badly damaged and it's kind of ruined. But this was the first sneaker for me. This was my #1 sneaker that got me into sneakers. And you can see that the air unit on the back is not at all caged. There's nothing protecting it, and it's just a pure air unit on there. And then when you look at these Spiridons, you can see that they have that kind of caged effect around the outside. And again, something that I'd never seen before. I mean, the similarities between this silhouette and the Spiridon silhouette are actually quite similar. If you look at the height of the sneaker, for example, and the positioning of the the materials and the actual structure of it, just that the materials themselves are very different, and then that caged effect on the what looks like a 270 air unit on the back. It's very new and unique to me anyway. So we've just covered the entire upper of the sneaker, from toe to upper materials to heel, and then into that air unit, and it's all new to me, and it's all like very unique and distinct features. But the main biggest, most unique feature for me actually comes on the outsole. So if we have a look at that here, you can see the outsole there in that red, white and black colorway, which is very 80s, but it suits the rest of the sneaker and really matches the silhouette or the colorway for the rest of the sneaker. But then if we zoom in on the front part of that and have a look at the front, I'd never seen anything like this before. And of course it's durable, and it has purpose and comfort and useful and all those kind of things. And I'm sure there's nothing wrong with it at all. It just looks, and not actually is, but it just looks a little bit flimsy, and I'm looking at that thinking, how can that not break? How can that not, like, one of those bars just snap or something like that? So, but I'd never seen anything like that before, an outsole like this before. The only thing I could maybe kind of compare it to would be Air Max Plus, I think it is it Air Max Plus, that has that kind of, the midfoot area that's in that solid kind of effect. I think it's Air Max Plus, or is it Air Max Pro? And you can see that in here with the red right in the center of the midfoot shank on there, which is similar to those Air Max. I think it's Plus. But other than that, it's a totally unique shoe. I've never seen anything like it. First time to look at these guys, and I was just, it really caught my eye, really distinctive looking sneaker, and something that I think people maybe will be out there be like, wow, I've never really seen that before. I'd love to know what people think of these guys, and what your history of, your history with them is, if you've seen them before, if you knew them when they dropped in the OGs back in the day, and now here they are kind of retro in them. So I'd love to hear about what you guys know about these sneakers in the comments down below. But for now, time for me to sign off. I did mention earlier that we are here in Japan, and I do those lives every single day. I don't think I threw up the playlist yet. to show you those live videos that I do every day, and please do check in if you want to hear about what life is like here under the coronavirus conditions. But for now, it's time to sign off and thank you guys for checking out my content. I do this every single day, so if you want your sneaker content every day, goodness me, if you want your sneaker content every day and unfiltered, then definitely check out my channel every day and drop in and see what's going on. For now though, it's time to throw up the last link, which is to the playlist of the rarest shoes in the world, in hand from Shoe Butter, our good friend Shoe Butter, who drops content on my channel from time to time, and he brings us those rare shoes and rare sneakers from his shoe apartment every single week. So here's a link to that. Doing, clicking on that will bring up a menu of all the other links I've shown you throughout this video, and you can check out any one of those videos to watch next. But for now, it's time for me to sign off. Thank you guys for checking out my content. But as I do this every single day, that means that you are guaranteed to see me tomorrow.